our basic skirts which I have drafted here, and this is the measurement which I use for the drafting. So this is our skirt waist round, skirt waist to hip 9, skirt waist to knee 23, skirt waist to floor length. This floor length, when we are measuring it, the person we are measuring have to be on tiptoe. Person we have to tiptoe in order for us to take this measurement. So this measurement is taken from the skirt waist to the floor length or to the desired length that we want. And this, the last measurement here is our hip round. So now this gore skirt that we are drafting is not limited to a full length skirt. We can also make it to be a short skirt or to be a 3/4 skirt as well. But in this class we are going to be drafting a full skirt, a full gore skirt, sorry. So now to get started, I have not tightened our knee here. I left it on purpose. So now the first thing we are going to be doing on this pattern is to come up from the knee length to the upper part. From the knee length here upward, we are going to be coming up by 5 inches. So from here to here we have 5 inches, which I have drawn out the line already. So we have our front pattern here and we have our back pattern here. So now let us get started. So the knee tightening, remember I said that our knee tightening, what we use is the waist minus hip, our waist round minus hip. So, and I said that if our waist round minus hip is not up to 10, we have to use 10, and if it's more than 10, then we can use the inches that we have after deducting the skirt waist round from the hip. So I'm going to be doing the calculations for this one. So we have our hip round, which is 36, and we have our skirt waist round, which is 26. So we have 36 minus 26. So we have 6 minus 6, we have 0. 2 minus 3, we have 1. So here we have exact 10 inches. And I believe we still remember how we are going to distribute these 10 inches across our knee length. But now we are not going to be deducting this on the knee length. We are going to be deducting it on this line. This 5 inches that will come up with, that is where we are going to be tightening our knee. Because the reason why we are doing this is because when we tighten our knee on the knee length for this type of skirt, it doesn't really come out beautiful. It doesn't really bring out the pronouncement of the style. So when we come up, at least it will be a little bit at the upper part of our knee. Then it bring out the beauty, it enhance the beauty of our hip, and it makes the fullness of the skirt to be more beautiful. That is the reason why we are not going to be tightening our knee on here. So let's get started. So remember, we are going to be deducting 2 inches here and 2 inches here. Right, and we are going to be coming down by 1 inches from our hip line. Then we draw our line across. Right, then we are going to be connecting these 2 inches to this point. Then we are going to come to the back pattern and deduct our 1 inches. And connect it like so. Then remember on our waistline at the back pattern, we are going to be deducting 0.5 depending on how deep the back of our client is. That is what will determine what we are going to be deducting here. But for this person is not having that kind of a deep curvy back, so I'm just going to be deducting 0.5 from here, and I'm going to be connecting it like so. Then after this, we are going to be going down to the floor length, and we are going to be taking down these measurements that we have here. Here I have 7 inches exactly on the front pattern. From this place to this place, I'm having just 7 inches. So we are moving down to the floor length to measure the 7 inches from the center front measure the 7 inches. So at this point I'm going to need a long ruler. So we connect like so. So that is all for the front. So remember, we are going to be closing here. Here is not part of our pattern. Then we are going to be doing the same thing for the back pattern. We are going to come down here and mark, we are going to measure what we have in between from here to here. So from here to here I have 6 inches. So we are going to measure downward. First of all, let's go down and measure the 1 inch. We are going to connect it like so. just did is to measure the 1 inches that I deduct from the back on this line and take it down. So after that, I'm going to measure what we have in between from here to here. We have 6 inches. So I'm going to come down and take the 6 inches down to the floor length as well. So we are going to be closing here as well. And we are closing here as well. And we are closing here as well. And here is not part of our pattern. So I'm going to be cutting out this pattern for us to see the outcome of it. Then we are going to continue. center back, and this is the center front. So now the next thing we are going to do is to close our darts. So the next thing we are going to do now, this nipple to nipple measurement line, we will have to take it straight down. So we have taken it down, the nipple to nipple measurement, we have taken it down. So the next thing we are going to do is to close these darts here. So this is how our pattern looks like now. Okay, so I want us to take note of this line, this specific line. You remember we came up by 5 inches from our knee length. So this line is very important because that is where we are going to be cutting out to add fullness to this skirt. So I want us to take note of this line, 5 inches from knee length. So this line is very, very important. So now the next thing we are going to be doing now is to cut out this pattern from this line. On this line, we are going to be cutting it through downwards. So we are going to be cutting from where we close our dart leg from, like so. And we have to cut it in such a way that it's not going to be bulgy, it's not going to be having a funny point. Then we cut it out like so. So now remember, this is our center front, this is the center front, and this is the side front. We are going to label this side front. I'm using abbreviation because I don't want to write too much on this paper. So this is our side front, this is our center front. So let's deal with this before we go to the back pattern. So now we are going to need more paper. So now remember that I told us that this line is very important. So we are going to be cutting out this line from the center front. We are not going to be cutting through this line. We are just going to be cutting it like so from the center front. Like so. This is what we are going to have. This is how we are going to cut it. So the next thing we are going to do is to place another paper on we are going to place another paper under this pattern, and this paper has to be on fold. So I have my paper here on fold. Let us set this one aside. So I have my paper here on fold. Sorry, we have to add this. So, sorry ma. So we are going to continue by this paper now is on fold. So we are going to place it like so. This upper part have to align properly with the paper that is under. Then we are going to pin it like so. Like so. This is how this upper part from here to here will be. So the downside, we are now going to be spreading it. Now this paper, I'm just going to be spreading it to where the paper stops, right here. But if we want it to be more fuller than this, we can actually do that by joining more paper to the whatsoever paper that we are having. We just have to make it a little, we make it to the wideness of what we want. So we are going to spread it. Now I'm going to spread it to the end of this paper, like so. Then I'm going to pin. So we are going to fold this paper so that we are going to get the exact measurements at the center front as well. We are just going to fold and trace like so. Then with our pattern master we connect. Like so. So we are going to be cutting this out. Just like that. And then we cut it out. So while we are at it, I recommend that after we have spread to the wideness of what we want, we have to leave like 2 inches allowance for the sewing allowance as well, so that when we place this on the fabric we will not start adding allowance again. So it's better to add our allowance at this junction. So we had the allowance to the side and we had the sewing allowance to the downside, which is 0.25, but the sewing allowance we are adding to the side is 2 inches or more than. So I'm not adding any allowances to this one, so I'm going to cut out like so. So after cutting out, this is what we have. This is what we have. So we are going to deal with the side front now so that we can see what we have. We are going to set this aside.
to this line.